Okay. Any other adjustments? Would anybody like to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda as adjusted?
Motion to approve the agenda as adjusted.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So we have an agenda. Thank you. Approval of the previous board meeting minutes from January. Does anybody have any adjustments they would like made to these minutes? Meredith?
Yeah, I have a small adjustment. I'm sorry I didn't look at these really carefully until today. Under the Lake Education Committee, it says the chlorine chart, and it should say chloride chart. You maybe already noticed that one. And then just a general comment. Could we include the slip count approved in the commercial permits in our minutes? It'd be so much easier to look back at the previous if we just say, 64 slips, 87 slips, something like that. Just...
Okay, any other adjustments? Okay, would anybody like to make a motion to approve last month's meeting minutes?
I make a motion to approve last month's meeting minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. And public comments. We reserve 15 minutes on our agenda to allow people to come in and talk with the board about items that are not on the agenda. I assume you're not interested in using that. Thank you. And nobody's here, so we will move on. New business, executive board member elections. So last month, nominations were opened for the chair, vice chair, treasurer, and nominations were made. It's basically what we have now. Brian DeSmit, chair, Meredith Wahlberg, vice chair, Mike Pronto, treasurer, secretary. Would anybody like to make any additional nominations? Okay, that's that once. Anybody like to make additional nominations? And then a third time, would anybody like to make additional nominations? Okay, hearing none. What is the next step, Mr. Council?
Chair and board, assuming that you want to move that forward tonight with what's been suggested, I would suggest a motion to move what we call the slate and take a second and a vote.
I make a motion to approve the slate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. And then next item on the agenda, Ramsey County Water Patrol 2023 Enforcement Report. Would you like to set that up, Al?
I certainly can, Mr. Chair and board. We have Commander Bolin here from the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office. He is the Water Patrol Commander and sort of oversees that. You are 2 years in that role now? At least one. Into your second? Yeah. Okay, because if you remember, Mike used to come here to Tobago, and so he's been moved to a different assignment, and this is our new commander. So, Commander, if you would.
I was hoping, thank you first of all for having me here today. I was hoping that the new commander of Water Patrol he's probably outside, but he will be here shortly so I can introduce him to you. As of today, I've been reassigned to administrative services, so I will no longer be overseeing Water Patrol. Commander Mike Servatka is taking over that role. That is not him. Basically, Alan and I have been in contact, and just giving you a summary that we did the boat count, I want to say late August, after he brought to my attention that there was an addendum to the contract this year that I was not made aware of. So I wasn't aware that you were seeking a current boat count. Moving forward, we will look at doing one in early to mid-June, and then another boat count early to mid-August to see and make sure that those numbers are accurate enough for you, focusing in Commercial Bay. The last year, when we did the boat count, VFW had 32, your boat club had 120, Admiral D's had 174, White Bear Lake had 176, and then Tallies had 64. During our 3-month enforcement period that the part-time deputies were out working strictly weekends, and then as our deputies were also working throughout the week and mostly at sunset targeting jet skiers, 121 citations were issued in the enforcement period of this 2023. I can tell you a majority of those were parking lot incidents of expired registration or no boat trailer licensing, things like that. I can't tell you what the DNR was doing. They don't work for me, but I know that we have a newer correctional or conservation officer here in White Bear Lake, and we are working side by side with him on the same page for enforcement. So that's all I have. I know that you guys were each given those numbers earlier, so do you have any questions for me?
I have one on the counts. Chris? I'm sorry, I should have read it. The counts, do you do any aerials or just button go down the row? Or what if somebody comes back and we say, hey, we counted 172? How do I show?
That's walking down the dock and counting the slips with boats in them that are occupied, or not occupied, but the slip is occupied by a boat.
Okay, got it. And so, like, if somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, no, not true. It's what you say or they say," basically. Yeah.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
If there's a boat in a leased slip, then
I think what we have this year too, for your knowledge, we did finally get everything defined and they're numbered and where they should be, so we could probably share some of that info with you guys when you do that too.
So if a boat sinks in slip 4, we know who boat 4 belongs to? Or?
We won't know who it is, but we know that's a rented slip.
Okay.
But at least it's like, here's the transient ones, here's the ones that are rented, so you can map that against that too.
Okay. That works for us. I know that Tallies with their rental boats that we came out several times and did our rental inspections through all that stuff too, and their numbers are going up with rentals, with kayaks, canoes, pontoon boats, and then I think they have these John boats with a little fishing boat. Yeah, that's it. So, did you have a question?
I do have a question. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you guys for keeping White Bear Lake safe. My question is on boater education. Are you seeing any need for boater education in certain areas on White Bear?
We haven't had very much interaction for youth that are required to take the boating classes. We also don't provide that. That's an online class through the DNR, and then certain parts of the state are able to actually do a hands-on. We didn't have many problems with that. If it was lake owners, juveniles on a jet ski that, at line of sight of their parents. And then, where's your parents? Well, they're in their house looking through a window, down a long 200-foot dock, and then mostly on the west side of the peninsula, on the Delwood side, is where we had our issues.
So the jet ski drivers were too young to be driving a jet ski, or
no?
Okay.
But the regulations is that they have to be in line of sight if they don't have their certificate, which has to be on them on the boat or the watercraft. So, where's your parents? Well, they're right there, and they're pointing across a long dock and reeds and a long yard, and then you see mom waving at you in the living room window, isn't really watching your kids on a boat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris? I had one more for you, and this has been an ongoing one with water ski courses.
Yep.
So we found a rule for both Washington County and Ramsey County where we had to get approval from you guys, I believe it was, right? And historically we have somebody who comes in and gets the permit to put it out there, and they do it. We try to follow. We have our ordinances on it. We do it, but we've reached out. We haven't got any answer. Tonight we have one where we just said, we've reached out. We haven't got an answer. If they put it out there, what are it's been out there time and time again, and they do a good job with it. But what do you want for approval for that from your guys' side?
So on our sheriff's office website, there's the regulations of what needs to happen. So they have to apply for a water structure permit. They submit it to the Water Patrol office. Somebody approves it or reviews it, certificate of insurance, a diagram of the ski course and a general idea of where that course is. And being that it's a water course, we're not going to send them 12 stickers for 12 buoys. But there's certain regulations based on the county ordinances that say it has to be submersible, it has to have a light on it or a reflector. If it's on the other side of the lake, it's outside of Ramsey County. Although we do enforcement, our ordinances don't bring us to the Matamidi side. We go over there and we'll patrol and enforce and respond to emergency calls and do everything else. But our regulations would end up stopping at the county line.
And this kind of gets weird because White Bear is a different lake where we're kind of the authority on a lot of these things. So how would you, if you know, this is where it does move across the county line at some point, the ski course goes back and forth.
Yeah.
So do we just figure out how we can get verbal, or is it you give us the authority to approve it and that's the best way to do it maybe?
Here's what I would recommend doing. Apply for the permit. We'll review it. We'll issue the official, where we'll mail a sticker. We do the same thing for the city with all the mooring buoys at Mataska. We can't send them 36 stickers, right? We basically approve it. And if something happens to the course where it falls apart and a buoy ends up over here or over there, we know how to return it to someone.
So follow the process on the site at least.
Yep.
Does Washington County have that too, do you know? Or not?
They should.
They should. Have you looked at that by any chance?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
I've called. I've emailed.
Okay, we'll try it and see what.
Their water patrol?
Yes.
Well, if you can't get a response, let us know. We'll just make a phone call to cell phones and be able to get the answer.
This one's been an easy one for us over the years, and then we saw it and was like, oh, there's some county stuff that we just wanted to get cleaned up if we could.
Yep, we're willing to work with you. We're obviously not going to tell you no. So the gentleman who came in behind me, this is Mike Servatka. He is the newly appointed commander of Water Patrol effective today. Mike, do you want to tell him about yourself?
Sure. Sorry I'm late. Got my taxes done already. It went longer than I thought it was going to tonight. So thank you. I am actually more or less a lifelong resident of White Bear Lake. I live not far from here. So I started as a kid in Water Patrol and kind of returning there. So I'm super excited. I spend a lot of time on White Bear Lake myself in Bald Eagle. So as you've overseen, yeah, I do. Been with the sheriff's office going on 26 years plus. I've worked in Water Patrol for most of it in some capacity. I run our dive team, and I've been doing that for 15 plus years. I've been a diver and running it for about 5. So very familiar with White Bear. Spent a lot of time there. Walk down the boulevard quite a bit and do a little bit of fishing. And yeah. Any questions while I'm up here?
I think we've asked most of the questions that we had. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for being here tonight. My question is, are we at a point where we should be thinking about the 2024 agreement, or how does that work?
So in the next couple of months, we'll be getting a supplemental law enforcement contract from Ramsey County, and I know our legal counsel works with you to do that. So I don't know if you want to talk about any other services maybe that you might want in there, other than just to give them a heads up.
Nothing comes to my mind. Have we talked about anything that I'm not remembering? Okay.
The boat counts that we had last year will go. Well, we talked about that. Will happen again this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chair and Board, the last, I guess you could say, major modification that we had was with respect to adding the boat counts. So, and I apologize, I was at the Wild game yesterday, so it's not screaming fan throat is what I have. But that was the only substantive change that we made, and I expect that that'll be before you probably in March or April at the latest. I think that was about the time frame last year from Amy, Sue, I can't remember whoever the coordinator is at Ramsey County. But anyway, once we get it, we'll get it before you, and if we need to add anything, we will.
Okay, that sounds good. Any additional questions for these folks? Please.
I don't have a question, I have a comment. That's okay. I see your badge. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for what you're doing for us, and thanks for coming out tonight.
Yep, and I'll send Mr. Cantrud his contact information, so if you guys have questions or things that come up, you'll have a direct line, at least an email.
I think your card's on my desk. I think you left it.
I left it for you.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, the Laker publication. Scott?
Yes, there is in your packet a new contract proposal from from Press Publications. And what they do, this would be the second year we've done it. They would give us space for content on all 4 of their issues. On the first one, they'll give us 4 pages. And what we did last year is in the packet on the next page. So these were the 4 pages that we did last year. And it's actually a very good deal because they do all the mailing and they do all the layout design for us, and we could not do it ourselves for that price. What they're proposing this year is an amount of $1,750 to give us the same kind of services. They are also expanding their distribution, including around Bald Eagle Lake, which doesn't directly affect us, but a lot of the things that we talk about would apply there, and especially, when we talk about like responsible use of salt. Well, they've got to protect the watershed over there too. So anyway, I think it's a very good deal. I think we should go forward, and I would like to make a motion to approve the Press Publications contract for the price of $1,750 applied to the educational category.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Press Publications. Any discussion? Meredith?
Just say that I think this was a really efficient way to get information we wanted to get out to invested users of the lake. I think it was a good partnership last year.
And how much did we spend last year? Do we know? With the Press Publications?
We're going to ask that, and I had my budget in here, but it's not there.
All right. In the same ballpark?
Yeah, it might have been a bit less. It might have been 1,400 rather than 1,700, but I don't have it here.
Yep, got it. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Thank you. White Bear Lake Low Water Level Study Group. So the executive committee, and we've talked about it a little bit at the board level, getting a group from the board, kind of a subgroup, together to try to formulate some ideas for how we will address Commercial Bay if the water levels drop. And I've asked a few people if they would participate, and all have agreed. Thank you. So just to summarize that, so this group will be Chris Churchill's going take the lead and kind of get things organized. Mark Gans, Darren DeYoung, Mike Pronto, and Scott Costello will all help out with that as well. Sorry for so many, Chris. But the idea there is that this group will come up with ideas to bring before the board for consideration regarding how to handle Commercial Bay as the water levels, if the water levels go down. Thank you all for agreeing to help with that, by the way. Any questions about that? Okay, we'll move on. Unfinished business, board activity annual calendar approval. So Sherry has put together this annual calendar of events, I guess, that the board undertakes each year. And it was presented at the January meeting, and people or members were asked to review that and offer any input to Sherry. So is the idea that tonight we're going to approve this, Sherry?
Yes, I think there are a couple questions there in red, and I've talked to the LUC members. I'm just looking at this really quickly.
The Lakeview Study Group, I just wanted to define, are they working on, we've talked about this, but are they working on the proposals going forward, the work, or is it done there?
The Lakeview Study Group?
Yes.
I can comment. I think we're going to answer questions if they come from the proponent, and additionally work with them on a few other things like the questionnaires, the voter surveys, things like that. So I'd keep us active until the conclusion of the study.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea to have, as long as you're willing, to have you kind of be that liaison between the proponent doing the work and the board. So are there any other questions on this, Sherry, that we need to deal with?
September, I already talked to LUC about that. I'm taking that off. About meeting with Commercial Bay operators about their applications for the next year. And I think that's it.
So would you like us to approve this tonight, or would you like to make those changes, bring it to the March meeting?
Let's see. You can do either, whatever you wish, because I won't be sending out other things to municipalities until March. So this can wait until March. If anybody else has input, that's great. But if not, you can approve it tonight.
Okay. I think that what I would like to do, if it's okay, and sorry to drag this out, is wait till March, and then we can get the questions out of here and kind of get it more finalized.
Sounds good.
Thanks for your efforts in putting that together, by the way. Okay, any other discussion about the calendar? Okay, moving on. 2023 annual report approval. And this again, Sherry put together a summary of what the board, major activities that the board undertook in 2023. And again, I think this was presented at the January meeting for review and input from board members. And is there anything on this document that is significant that needs to be changed, Sherry, or is this pretty much done?
It's pretty much done.
Okay. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 annual report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. And again, thanks for your efforts there, Sherry. That's really nice to have that stuff done. Next item, VFW, EAW. So we've had a lot of back and forth with the applicant, the VFW, and it seems like we're at a point where we're just not going to get a lot more out of the VFW and the person that's helping them. And so Sherry has basically typed up the EAW application. There are a bunch of holes, and for the moment, I think the executive committee will just keep keep it for now and take a look and try to start filling in the holes that we have with the EAW. And then there's also, they're waiting for something.
The Natural Heritage Review.
Yeah. So the natural heritage review that the state does, and so that's probably, I think when they mentioned it to us, it's maybe in April, May is when they were anticipating getting that back from the state. So any discussion about the VFW EAW, Chris?
One of the gaps for what needs to be filled out, can that get shared with all of us so we can see it? Maybe we can all help with it?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Sherry's done a really nice job of going through and outlining what's missing. Are you okay if we share that with the board?
Oh, I'm fine. I just want to know what the process is. We're going to share it, but then what happens after that?
Yeah, and it does get...
The only thing I was suggesting, if there was anything like here, if I read it and I looked at it and said, there's things I could help with, because we have built some relationships with the VFW guys over there and Luke's on the LUC. If there's stuff that maybe a third party could come in, like from, and just really sit down and talk through it. I don't know.
Yeah, and that, that is our intent, is to go through and try to figure out what we can complete accurately and what we really need them to advise us on. But yeah, I would say, Sherry, if you want to send that out, the marked up document that you put together, send that out to the board members and ask them for any input.
It should all go through Sherry. If it, no end around, it's like, if there's suggestions or help, that help goes through Sherry or she knows about it.
Yep, that's right.
Can I ask, what's our legal responsibility, or is it our job to make sure that there are no holes at all?
Right. So my understanding is that we're the ones that will actually own the EAW, and we will advertise that with the EQB, the Environmental Quality Board, and we have to, once we decide that all of the information is complete from the VFW, then we have 30 days, I think it's 30 days to get that published. And so what we need to do, again, we've had several back and forths with the VFW, and it seems like we're at a point where they're just not able to give us more. So now we're going to try to do what we can with it.
Yeah, because it's really pretty boilerplate from my previous looks at it.
Yeah, and I think that's right. And I think that there are people out there that do this, kind of as a living. They complete EAWs, and the VFW may have been more successful if they would have, instead of having somebody who's doing it for the first time. I think they maybe would have been more successful, but that's water over the dam. So that's where we're at right now with this VFW EAW. Okay, any other discussion on that one? Okay, we'll move on. Buoy placement map draft approval, Meredith?
Okay, so the board has been working on the buoy placement map. You have a draft in your board packet. Thank you to Sherry for putting this together, working on it a lot. So since last month, she's updated it to show shapes instead of colors for black and white printing, if that's what we desire. So this map will be for public consumption. So I would like to make a motion to approve the buoy placement map for 2024.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the buoy placement map for 2024. Any discussion? Meredith, what happens if adjustments need to be made through the season, let's say because water levels drop or something like that? Do we just amend it midstream, or how do we do that?
That's a great question. We hadn't talked through that yet, but I would imagine in this initial one will get published in the first edition of the White Bear Laker, and we could update it then on our website very easily, and we could update it through our social media very easily, but I don't know that we would republish it.
Okay. Mark?
Could we just throw a caveat under it that say subject to change due to water levels? So we're not like, you said a buoy was going to be there and it wasn't there.
And just to dovetail on that, what about incorporating something that says, hey, adjustments may be made to this, visit the White Bear Lake Conservation District website for current updates? Would that be reasonable?
Yes.
Okay. Any additional?
Did
Sherry?
you just say, see our website for updates, or?
Yeah, I think that's okay. Any other comments, questions, discussion?
Publishing this will make people aware of it. I don't think they have any specific action. But if they're aware of it, then they can look for the buoys as they're out there boating, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real good step forward, I think, to get the information out there like this. Okay, and now, Sherry, can you remind me where we're at? We have a motion and a second. We're in discussion right now. Okay, any further discussion? Mike?
I just noticed this. On the key, it says shallow water buoys below 922 elevation. They're out there all the time.
That's what was on the draft that was given me, so I don't know what that means.
So I'm just asking that question.
Yeah, I should probably scratch that.
Do we need that or not?
Is it okay if we take that
They're out
off?
there regardless of the lake level.
Okay, so we can remove that, sounds like?
So we just line it out?
Yep.
Okay.
But before the thing is finalized, you can just get that out, is that? Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Who made the motion?
I'm sorry.
I made the motion.
Okay.
I seconded.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So would you be okay to amend the motion to approve the buoy placement map with modifications that we discussed tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion's been amended. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you for putting that together. And aeration regulation monitoring, Meredith.
So again, it was included in your board packet. It's a form to keep track of de-icers or any aeration devices on White Bear Lake. It's in our bylaws to regulate the mechanical systems for de-icing, and this is the first step the board's going to take. Eventually, we may publish or publicize a map for public safety, but this is going to be our very first step, just collecting the data. So I'd like to make a motion to approve this permit to be put on our website.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the aeration permit document. Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, Sherry.
No, go ahead. Do you want me to put it on the website right now, or are we going to wait until next winter, or what?
It'd be my preference to get it up right now because it's possible someone will use a de-icer as the ice melts this year.
Okay, and I'll put it in the scroll just because it's a new thing, and then put it someplace in a form.
Social media post and link it to that if you'd like as well.
Okay, any further discussion? All those?
Do we know of any that are out there right now?
So there have been 3 DNR permits in the last couple of years.
Like currently, though, this one?
Is anyone de-icing already? Not to my knowledge.
Because I know the VFW had one there, or the city had one by the pier.
They did last year.
A couple years ago.
Yep.
I didn't see it this year.
I haven't seen it yet this year, but I know they've had it in the past.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. 2024 Lake Use Study Recommendation, Meredith.
Okay, included in your board packet or sent to you after the last board meeting were both proposals we received for the 2024 Lake Use Study. We received 2 qualified proposals to review. They have a difference in price of $6,200 at the minimum. I want to mention that the Lake Use Study Group has recommended we go with Blue Water Science over the EOR proposals because we thought it followed our RFP more closely than the other one did, and we also included that an important factor to consider was the consistency of the data collection methods, and they have done our previous studies, Blue Water Science. So my motion, but they're both qualified proposals. My motion tonight would be to approve the proposal from Blue Water Science.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
How does this compare in price to what we budgeted?
The budget was $30,000 for this project, so one of the proposals comes in slightly under budget and one over budget.
Okay, so that difference, because we're going to be spending a little bit more, will just come out of
Correct,
extra
we'd be
money.
over budget.
What's
Okay.
that total? Is it 33? Or
I should know it off the top of my head. Do you know off the top of your head, Mark?
$35,800 plus $350 per meeting they attend. So
Almost.
at least 6,000, probably it'll be 8,000 over budget.
Any additional discussion or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes. Thanks, working group. Okay, we're on to reports and action items. Executive committee. The executive committee met February 6th. Some of the items, Sherry gave us an update on some administrative items, carpets in, office is nice, that kind of stuff, and then other things that are going on. We talked about the buoy placement and removal and the map a little bit, planning for 2024 low water levels. We just discussed that a little bit, and commercial bay permits and the need to coordinate with Surveyor again to get them on board to check the dock lengths for us once they're in, and then also the physical permit status. What we actually send to the commercial bay permit holders. We talked a little bit about the Lake Use Study RFP, which we just discussed. The ADUA line between the between the VFW and the city's pier, we discussed that a little bit, and then aeration for ice control, which we just discussed, and then ordinance review work, which is ongoing. And then the last thing is St. Germain Bay sign, and there's been some movement on that, and thanks, I think, mostly to Meredith and Mike. Thank you, and so it looks like there may be a location that we can place that sign, and so do either one of you want to give a quick update on where, like, next step, or Meredith? Mike's pointing at you, so.
We're talking to the city of Delwood about a piece of land they own, which is very close to St. Germain Bay. It'll be a great spot. We still have no approvals, but we're working with them. We're hopeful.
Yeah, and thanks for that. Any questions about that?
I know I have people who work in the printing sign making business, so if you get to that point, give me a ring.
Okay. Okay, any questions about the executive committee report?
on the VFW line, was there any issue or was there a problem?
No, it was just trying to anticipate potential problems with between, because the ADUA line appears to be in a different location than either the city or the VFW were aware of in the past.
Well, on the permit that was approved, we went off the RUD diagram, so that was what was approved.
Yeah.
That is the ADUA line, if there's any confusion.
Yeah, I think it's just different than what had come in previously with the,
Previously, and that's what I think we got straightened out with the current permit that got approved this
yeah,
year.
that the line's in the right place now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks for that. Any other questions on the executive committee report? Okay, move on to the Lake Quality Committee. Mike?
Didn't happen until 2024 on January 18th.
Talking to your microphone.
Gotta be the latest on record. It is the latest on the records that we have.
Did I see it was open on the peninsula like last week?
Yeah, it was open on the peninsula until the 18th.
Just recently, like last
And
week?
now it's open again. Yeah. And the rock bars, Ordway Rock Bar is also open. So, and there's the most, I think the most that I heard any ice fishermen that we went out and drilled was 12 inches of ice, which is like nothing.
It's not working, so could you use Meredith's? Sorry about that.
Okay.
Years ago, you'd never thought to do that.
So 12 inches of ice, and January 18th, it froze. So get your guesses in, get into the contest for ice out. And make your guesses.
Any questions for Mike? Is that it, Mike? Okay. Thank you, Mike. Next is the Lake Utilization Committee. Mark?
Okay, first of all, let me just preface by saying that everything on the docket today was passed unanimously by the Utilization Committee. First one is Redpath Wogama course, and we're still just waiting for the sheriff's departments before we can do that. But other than that, on our side, everything seems good. So I think we have to table that until.
We should have pushed it, but like we've done the process with them. And it didn't come back.
With the sheriff's department?
Yeah.
And is that our responsibility, or is that the course folks' responsibility?
I think we were trying to help you as we were the ones that found it and brought it up. And this is like the first time that we're going through it because we've never had to do it in previous permits. So it's, in my opinion, I think what we could do is, I think we approve it, let them go forward because we still are the authority, right? And then I think we follow the sheriff process and see if they come through. And if they don't, like the officer said, we could reach out. That would be my suggestion, but.
Do you think, and not that a motion's been made, but do you think it'd be prudent to include in the motion the contingent, or make it contingent on an application being made to the sheriff's department?
That would work, because then if we've done our diligence on it, that's as good as we've done. And
Yeah, but
It seems a bit of a chicken or egg sort of thing, because on the website for Ramsey County, they have a place for did you get a letter of approval from the conservation district. So perhaps that would help the county get to approval, would be the approval from the conservation district.
we'll give it one more try.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve, contingent that the applicants make their application to the sheriff's departments.
I think I would make it more contingent on them getting the permit, not
Correct.
necessarily applying for it.
No, we're saying apply for it.
By,
not get
because they're not really, the sheriff's departments aren't really responding even when they apply.
I think Ramsey will. I'm not quite
Okay.
sure about Washington.
But
'cause
they didn't the last time. I'm all for it. I hope they do, right? But they didn't the last time.
I just wanted to mention that Manitou Island Association, we asked them to get a water structure permit as well for their swim area, or buoys. They've had their application in there since November 15th and haven't heard anything back. So I told her, hang in till March and we'll get you on the docket then. But if she doesn't receive it, I don't know what else to say.
I heard from the sheriff tonight. We now have a new commander that's hopefully going to be watching those a little more carefully.
Okay, so there's been a motion made, no second, and my understanding of the motion is that it's approval of the application contingent on the applicant submitting an application to the Ramsey County Sheriff's Department.
And they copy us.
Okay, and they copy us. Is there a second? Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just out of curiosity, what do these buoys look like? Are they mooring buoys or?
The ski course buoys?
Ski course buoys.
Which is?
The ski course on the lake.
slalom course.
The slalom
you know,
course.
for the skiers.
Yeah. So I guess I've never been out
Oh.
there and just wondering what.
They look like orange volleyballs.
Okay.
Yellow. Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That passes.
I'll bet you.
The next one is Brenda Farrell. And they were requesting, I guess the background is the father had lived there for a long, long time. The family bought the property, and they want to keep 5 family boats on it. They do have 115 feet of lakeshore. Apparently, it's been done like that in the past. Nobody's ever complained. So the utilization committee said that since these are annual applications and there's no grandfather, that this year we would approve it. The LUC did, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this application. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
The next one is the White Bear Yacht Club. I'll let Chris, he took care of this. If there's any questions, direct them to him. But it was, the LUC passed it, and I so move.
Yeah, and then just to give you a little more detail, all it was getting the numbers correct on the number of, because they have a commercial and a non-commercial part of it. The non-commercial is for the sailing school. So they did have increased boats for the sailing school, which we're all for. And then we just got their numbers exact on, they had missed the judge boat that they've had there. And so we got that. And then they had the actual ramp. We charge for ramps, right, or slides, we're calling. And they only had 1, and they put 6, thinking to pull up. So we got them straightened out and got the numbers right on all of it. And that was really the diligence to get it right.
Second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mike?
They have one ramp or one ramp, excuse me, they have one slide with one boat on it?
6.
Which we cut, yeah, the ramp one, if you look at that permit, the ramp is for like launching your boat. That was where they had 6.
Okay.
So for the slides for all the boats, like we just counted the number of sailboats they had in the sailing school, which I think was 22.
But how many were on the slide?
It's in the diagram. I can look real quick. They had it broken down in the diagram there.
4 20s and 6 empties. I don't know which slide. I assume it's 18.
I think what happened was it was a little sketchy on what the actual boat count was, and we got that straightened out.
Yeah.
I just wondering if you're charging for a slide or if you're charging the number of boats on a slide.
You got to remember, we're doing it like half of it's non-commercial, so we're just doing it by the number of boats for that. So if you look at the total non-commercial fee, because we're doing the sailing school as non-commercial at that point, which had 22 boats there. And then you minus the 4, and they charge for 8, and then we charge them for 18 there.
Okay.
So then you get into the commercial side. The commercial side had 24 boats because they didn't have the judge's boat there. So we charged them that, and then there's the municipal skid or ramp fee, which they had 6, and they really just had 1.
Okay.
So that's where it gets goofy. This one is goofy because it's commercial and non-commercial. We're not going to charge them for their sailboats for the commercial side, if that makes sense.
Meredith?
So essentially, we are approving 47 slips.
Well, slips are for the commercial side of the house. For the commercial side of the house, we're counting 24.
How many slips total?
Total number of slips, mooring, tie-ons, or tie-offs is 24,
For the commercial side.
the commercial side.
How about for the total?
For the school plus.
The school are 22 boats that we're charging, because there's not it's not,
And then
it
we're
says
not
total,
charging
it's not
for-
slips there. Commercials for slips. I know it's confusing. The non-commercial is just total number of units, which is 22.
Okay.
Minus 4, which gets you to 18.
Okay. And then a sheriff's boat.
The sheriff boat, we put in the slips, mooring, tie-ons, because we're counting, well, no, the sheriff we didn't count, the judge's boat we did. I'm sorry, the sheriff we don't charge. We let them have that for nothing, and we don't count it.
Okay.
So 46 boats total, school and commercial.
47 boats, we're not counting one.
We're not counting one.
Okay.
We never count the sheriff boats.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's a confusing one because the non-commercial and commercial and sheriff and people thought the judge's boat shouldn't be, and we're like, no, we're in charge of the boat there for that.
Okay, any additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
Next one is the packet from the Birchwood Dock Association. No change from last year after we did, there was a dock length thing we had to do last year, but that got settled. So no change from last year, no complaints that I know of. Passed unanimously by the LUC, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and I just heard no revision, and I see here there's a revision from last year for Birchwood, but is that?
Well, what happened was, so Birchwood has length enforcement from the city. So what they were trying to show on the Birch dock, last year there was a misconfiguration of when they installed it, they went out too long. So I think it was Dick Galena and Mary Winfield, some of them brought that up, and they just wanted to make sure that was called out in the permit where they're going back to the length that was documented, which is 116. So it's going to the thing that's been in the permit for years. It shouldn't change, and something happened with the install, and they had it out too long.
Just last year.
Yeah.
Okay, any additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes.
The next is Wildwood Beach Manor condominiums in Matamidi, identical to last year, no complaints. Passing unanimously at the LUC, and I so move.
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second for the Wildwood Beach Manor condominiums. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
The next one, I'm going to let Chris take over. This is an association that I'm a part of, so I abstain from this.
This is for the Shore Dock Association, identical to last year, no complaints. So I make a motion to approve the East Shore Dock Association for 2024.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I abstained. I'm sorry, I said aye, I abstain.
Mark's taking his eye back.
Next is Forest Heights Improvement, also in Matamidi. Identical to last year, no complaints. It was approved by the LUC, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
And the last one on the docket is the Russ Becker Dock and Swim Rafts at the end of the peninsula, identical to last year. The swim rafts have been, we were told they're higher now, and they are marked. But other than that, there were no complaints. And it was passed at the LUC, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Any questions for Mark? Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Late entry.
Yeah.
There was the Lions Park Docks of White Bear Lake ADU UA agreement that we passed by. Do we mean to do that above? Maybe I have an old agenda. No. Okay. It was on an old agenda. Sorry.
I'm like, did I miss something again?
They started shaking.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to the Lake Education Committee. Scott?
So we've already discussed the Laker, and we have 4 pages of content to put in before Memorial Day. And we're going to have something about buoys, which is actually why I was asking about what watercourse buoys look like.
So I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so we can explain that. I found pictures.
I was going to show you.
So, yeah. So, and then we will be discussing other education items, whether we want to have a summertime lake cleanup, which reminds me to go back to the one that's scheduled on March 9th. Chances are the ice will not be safe at that time because it's going to be above freezing every day, and we're down, under a foot thickness. I don't think I've seen any permanent overnight ice houses, at least on my view of the south half of the lake. Just a few tents. There was one tent out there today. Some diehard didn't mind slushing his way out there. But I don't think it's too cluttered this year just because of reduced use. So the Boy Scouts are already starting to think about what happens, and basically it becomes a clean up the Lakeshore Park cleanup. And so he sent out an email recently assigning different groups these parks. The board here has Lions Park.
Oh.
So, do you see that email? Oh, okay. Sometimes Jim Schuster doesn't send it to everybody. I will make a note to make sure.
I think I personally signed up for that area.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's got Lions Park in your name. So that's the likely coverage. And if it was safe to go out on the ice, you can go out there. And, I won't. Anyway, I can share a little more information on that as it comes. So next summer we have to decide about a summertime lake cleanup. We have to decide if we're going to do anything for Market Fest. And there was one other thing too. We want to work out some of the ideas and sort of get them going for education. But the big thing will be getting the Laker content together.
Okay, and do we need to take care of the garbage bags for the Boy Scout cleanup?
Yeah, we happened to find it was very fortuitous because we got to clean out a little more of the office because there were some black bags there from before the Boy Scouts were involved or before I was involved, because we always get like yellow bags, that are used for like highway pickup. And but we had a bunch of plastic bags, black, that were labeled lake cleanup in the office, and Sherry very kindly delivered them to the house of the Boy Scout leader. And in this email that I will share, it says, if you want bags, we got them. And they aren't in the office anymore. So that's the bag story.
Okay. Okay.
Then social media, we can't forget that.
All right, this month for our social media, I'm going to post about the ice cleanup, which is likely going to be a park cleanup. If any board wants to meet us now in Lions Park at 10 a.m. that day, we'd love your help. Or if you decide to clean somewhere else, I would love your pictures, and I'll put them up on our social media of the board doing cleanup around the lake. I may put up a post on the Ice House deadline to get off the ice, or that might just be humorous at that time. We'll see. I'm going to make a link to our historical ice out dates. People like that one, and then perhaps an ice out before our next meeting. We'll see. Likely. But I'm happy to post anything that anyone wants up there. Email me, talk to me.
Any questions for Meredith or Scott? Okay, thank you. On to the treasurer's report. Mike?
Treasurer's report for February you have in front of you, and we need to approve it. So I would like to make a motion that we approve debit card purchases starting new in 2024 with number 1 through number 3, and checks number 4926 through 4932. That is my motion.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
In the cost for the White Bear City Hall or the City of White Bear, like what is that? That's rent or what is that?
Which one?
The last one.
2457. 4932. Check 4932.
To the City of White Bear?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go over to the breakdown.
The breakdown, I missed it. Got it. Payroll.
And then you can see what it's all for.
Got it. I'm learning. I want to learn. Learning.
Any additional discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. And that's the only item. Any questions for Mike? Okay, on to item 10, the board council report. Alan?
Board, shout out to Jeremy for coming and making his presentation to you. We certainly wish him well. I mean, he was definitely very responsive, and I enjoyed working with him. As you guys know, we had a couple of issues on the lake over the last, I'll just say, calendar year, and he was very responsive. I don't know if Sherry would share that sentiment, but hard to fill those shoes, but I think the guy that we got, the fact that he lives here and knows the lake real well and spent his whole life here bodes well. So I did go outside and have a little chat with them about what I guess you could say upcoming issues might be and what might be in the contract. And one of the things that he did clue me in on, and this will be something that I'll take up with Meredith and Scott later on, they want to do, ideally, if the money comes through, this is a federal program called Operation Dry Water. And it's a safe and sober campaign for boating. And so that's one of the initiatives that he'd like to sort of jumpstart our new commander. And so that's usually done the first week in July, so it catches that July 4th activity. And so as stuff becomes available, I might tax you guys to push it out. So when it comes in, I'll get it in through Sherry, and we can hopefully participate in that campaign with those guys. Yep. So beyond that, conservation officer says, needless to say, Minnesotans are generally full of common sense, so there haven't been any emergencies, thank goodness, on the lake. Over the last couple of days, I've only seen one lone house, at least on the north side where I drive, and probably Meredith and everyone else who's over there notices that one brave soul that's out beyond the rock bar. And I did ask Jeremy about anything else that he's seen in terms of any emergencies or anything with ice houses. And I guess there's one lone one that would be kind of down by your place, Scott, off Bel Air. And other than that, people have been very responsible about not being out there and taking risks like that. So anyway, I'd stand for any questions. We didn't have any citations this month because, of course, activity has been very low.
Any questions for Alan?
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Announcements. I don't have any announcements, really. Diane?
I just wanted to mention how much work Sherry's put in redecorating the office. It looks really good, and so go down and take a visit if you have a chance. And I'd like to thank her husband and son for helping, and then Mark, you and your son helped too, so thank you very much, because it really looks nice. So take a visit.
Okay, any additional announcements? Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. 5.